Anyway, it's important for those who act on their emotions that they stop and they look at the precedents that have been set in this religion. Anyway, answering the question as to why Bilal's done what he's done and what led him to do what he's done, it's clear he's embarrassed about the reason for his arrest. That it was for a stupid, petty, pathetic reason. And it is embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed myself if it got out. As Bilal said to me, this was between me, you and my solicitor. Why did you tell the brother about this? I said, I told the brother, one, to seek his advice, two, because it affects other brothers. You know, we think of other brothers as well, not just ourselves and what's in front of our own noses. The secret recording, Bilal, we'll come back to that. When you're saying, oh, you spied on my property, we know that it's not all your property except the one thing for which you were arrested for. It's not your property. And the brother was trying to help you to get the Iqamah back. So he wasn't spying. And those other colleagues of his, Muslims and whoever they were not spying. Okay? But what you did is clearly spying. No one can disagree except those who are with you who say, no, it's alright to spy to get the evidence and this, that. You know, like those of you who say it's alright to rob and steal and do crimes in the name of Islam in the society because it's Dal Harb, it's a place of war. The same ones of you do that and go nightclubbing and stuff like that. And take drugs and do all the foolishness. Those of those Muslims who use the Deen, this beautiful, blessed Deen, to distort and justify some of the actions which will never be accepted and never come under Islam. So let's look at the ayah in Surah Al-Hujurat. Another ayah, ayah 12, the meaning of which is, O you who believe, avoid much suspicion. Indeed, some suspicions are sins. And spy not, neither backbite one another. The tactics of secretly recording, we know this, it's happened to some of us, I believe. We can't prove it, but it's happened when some of the authorities have done it. But this is akin, it's the same as what MI5 and MI6 do. So Bilal, where did you learn that tactic, or who advised you to do that? Who do they work for? And yourself, because you would say, I've never had to work in any job. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Many of us have had to work in jobs, earning halal money to get through in life. And you know what? Bilal, don't try and deflect the embarrassment. Those who are with him, those who are on Islamic Awakening and all those other websites and who come up with these really foolish statements they come up. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, I see some sensible people responding and trying to have proper dialogue on those websites. And may Allah reward you. Those who agree with me, those who disagree. Those who hate me, those who don't hate me. May Allah reward those of you who try to have sensible dialogue and arrive at the truth of the matter. Unlike those who've just got a perverted, warped perspective, like the invigilator of Islamic Awakening. We know you. We know when you came to us for advice back in the early days. What was the advice on? Family issues. Yeah, I won't say your name on this. You know who you are. But let's just look at this. Let's look back at the situation with our brother Bilal, who didn't want his name to be mentioned on this secret recording. That's why you could hear that the beginning of the tape was actually doctored. What did he do? He rang to see that our brother was there. And then he rang back again. And our brother asked him, if you got the entirety of the conversation, Bilal, did you get cut off? How are you? Did you get cut off the first time? Clearly, getting cut off the first time, Bilal was just setting up the situation and the occasion to record. I just wanted to check whether his brother was there. But Bilal, let's look at these ayats and those who are with you and those who support these really cheap sort of gutter press tactics. Using Islam in that instance. Islam's free of all this gutterism and all this cheap tactic, these cheap tactics. Allah says in Surah Az-Zukhruf, we wronged them not, but they were the wrongdoers. Also in Surah Ash-Shura, whatever misfortune befalls you, it is because of what your own hands have earned, and He pardons much. And to reiterate, drawing to a close now, what was mentioned at the beginning is that this was not a Brixton issue. It's not a Brixton issue. As I said, if a car crashed or a cat died outside the front of Brixton Mosque, these individuals, in their hatred for what we represent, will be saying the cat died because of Brixton, there's no blessings there, or someone must have poisoned the cat, or the area around Brixton. This is how pathetic these individuals are. So Brixton's free of everything that took place here. Brixton's free of any mistakes or sins that I may have committed or wrongdoings I may have committed. Brixton is free of all of those things. Brixton is Brixton, Abdahat Baker is Abdahat Baker. In my capacity and position as chairman, yes, I have to represent and speak on behalf of Brixton. And the things that I've said in the past and the things that I hold and the belief I hold now, I still hold now. As I've said on some of the websites, maybe I could have phrased things a little more accurately, I could have phrased things a little better, which wouldn't have given this unfortunate perception and confusion that some of you say you're in now, that Abdul Haq Baker's an informer. Abdul Haq Baker causes problems for people in prison. Brixton Mosque, everyone who comes from Brixton Mosque causes these problems. Yeah, as I said, there may have been some words that were not correct. However, when we've looked at them and followed the story, they were actually in their place, largely so. So we say to these individuals, go run back behind your computers and hide behind your names and your kunyas and everything, and start writing in glee and commenting on what you've just heard now, because that's what you're good at. I don't know what else you're good at. There are those of us who are sincerely trying to improve the situation of the Muslims in two ways. Doing what? Letting the authorities, the government, know that their type of extremism, their type of stance against the Muslim countries, their foreign policy, in other words, is wrong and oppressive. And we also warn against those liberal extremists who align themselves with government in such a way that they talk against the Muslims in general, like the Qulliam Foundation, like Sufi Muslim Council, like organisations who are similar to these. But we will also be balanced and warn against extremism, violent extremism of our Muslim brothers who want to bring nothing but destruction to the society that we live in, based upon warped understandings of this Deen. We will warn against both extremes, and we will work with the Muslim populace, the general Muslims who are just getting on with their lives and trying to get by, to show that Islam is the religion of truth, that we are part and parcel of the societies we live in, wherever they may be, and that you extremist few from either side of the spectrum are exactly that, just few. Your voices might be loud, but you are relatively insignificant. And to end, those brothers we met with in October, and the leader of them who apologised on 3 counts for things that he had accused me of, I commend them and him for doing that. However, he did say that he was going to apologise from the minbar on Jummah, his own masjid, and he was going to write this apology and circulate it. Perhaps this quote-unquote so-called revelation of this secretly recorded conversation has made him step back from this. I would say to him, he's a person who knows that we have to have evidence and deen and religious sources, not Keel Wakal and salacious recordings and articles. So act upon ilm and move forward in the way that you have, my brother, and the brothers who are with you. That's my advice to you. Anyone can contact Bilal if you want to verify if what's been said here is the truth or not. Here's his number, and it's an interesting number: 079 50 50 50 50. We'll end there. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.